Is Ben Affleck a good actor?
You
just breathe. No.
He's a better director than he is an actor.
Way better director.
Yeah.
You just deflected.
Yeah.
The answer is
You
no.
are correct.
Ben Affleck is not a good actor, but he's an actor that gets it right sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
He just falls into the rightness sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes his blondness works for like the accountant.
Yes. Yes. You're right.
It's like
for those of y'all who didn't see The Accountant, he was Ben Affleck.
He was great.
No emotion. That's all you needed.
Until Shane shows up.
Yeah.
And then you see a better performer.
Right.
Because it's like, yo.
Yo.
The Loose Cannons Podcast.
Hey, yo.
Second episode this week.
I like it.
Episode 47.
47.
We almost at 50. We got to do something special.
What should we do?
When we hit the 50.
All right, I'm going to think
We're
about it.
going to do something. Think about it.
Okay.
Yo, so I'm No Justin, No Peace.
And I'm Lou Rivers.
And we are the Loose Cannons Podcast because we sit down and we fire off our opinions on today's pop culture.
What else?
Politics.
What else?
Movies and TV and how they all intersect. And oh, baby, we got a good movie review for you guys.
Really good.
The Way Back?
The Way Back. Not The Way Back. Did
Not
you
The
ever
Way
see that?
Back. No.
That was pretty good.
Okay.
But The Way Back.
The Way Back?
Ben Affleck.
That's the only standout person that I remember from the movie.
Me too.
Ben Affleck.
Okay.
All right.
I'll take one of the Affleck brothers.
So, Casey too?
Yeah, Casey. Yo.
Casey got a case.
Casey got a case.
Or did that go away?
No, I think it went away. I think it turned out to.
Case went away?
I think it turned out to be fake. But you know, I'm just saying.
Damn.
I mean, I wouldn't know. I have to go check.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. So Ben Affleck playing
Ben Affleck. My bad. I did. Did I say it already? Did I say that already?
An alcoholic, not divorcee, but separated.
Yeah.
From his family, who also is dealing with grief of the loss of his son.
Yes.
It's just basically drinking himself away, but gets an opportunity to reignite his passion in the game of ball by coaching this team.
Yes.
I think I probably explained that better than the movie really explained.
Yeah,
the whole
you
story.
sure did.
Okay.
You sure did.
So what's your first opinion on the movie?
Okay. Conventional redemption story mixed with a little basketball coming of age story.
Yeah.
You know, your Coach Carter's, your Remember the Titans, not done as well.
Nowhere near as done as
well. At best, middle of the pack.
Yeah.
As far as a redemption story, I mean, honestly, when that second act finished, I was like, "Oh, this is the end of the movie."
I thought it was over.
Yeah, me too. I was like, "Oh, all right, cool. I guess it's."
I thought that was it.
This must be a Disney movie or something, you know. Like, but
it just kept going.
But honestly, that was followed up by the best part of the movie, like that whole fall from grace section.
That was the best part.
I was just like, oh, all right, okay. This is what I've been waiting for.
We should have had that a little bit earlier.
Yeah. It should have been better developed through the story. But I mean, the redemption part was good, well done,
yes.
Average, above average, maybe.
Absolutely.
Coming of age section with the kids, not quite.
No,
below average. The movie, I mean, I told you, I think Ben Affleck does great when he's himself and he's acting as himself. So he did all right.
Okay. First impressions.
Yeah.
The movie's better without Ben Affleck.
Dang. What you want, like Josh Lucas or somebody? Sam Worthington?
He's just like emotionally blah.
Yeah.
And he's trying. Like this is him. This is him at his peak right now.
Yeah.
This is peak Ben. This is when he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be turning into this dramatic. Like no.
Right.
Like I. Is Ben Affleck a good actor? You just breathe. No.
He's a better director than he is an actor.
Way better director.
Yeah.
You just deflected.
Yeah.
The answer is
You
no.
are correct.
Ben Affleck is not a good actor, but he's an actor that gets it right sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
He just falls into the rightness sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes his blondness works for like the accountant.
Yes. You're right.
It's like
for those of y'all who didn't see The Accountant, he was Ben Affleck.
He was great.
No emotion. That's all you needed.
Until Shane shows up.
Yeah.
And then you see a better performer.
Right.
Because it's like he's just
John Bernthal, for those who don't know
yes,
who
John Bernthal. Like Ben Affleck is not a good actor.
Dang.
He's not.
No. All right. I think he's an okay actor.
Okay.
He doesn't have range, and he doesn't have the capabilities of being
But he's an A-list okay actor.
Right. That's the whole thing. He could do a better job if he's an ensemble part, or he's a number 2 or number 3.
Okay.
So think about, what's the one where all the assassins are going after the one gambler who he was in that movie and he was great. Not Reindeer Games. Not Reindeer Games. But he was really good at Reindeer Games.
What's the other one?
What's the movie with Common and Alicia Keys? They're all assassins.
Oh, Crazy Aces.
Yes. So, Smoking Aces.
Smoking Aces.
But he was in that movie too, and
he was
nice little part. Be this,
yes.
do that.
Yes.
Good, cool. But A-list money is better than supporting actor money.
You're right.
So I'm gonna take all these roles that y'all say, hey, you can't really.
He was actually decent in Reindeer Games. I enjoyed him in Reindeer Games. Yeah. See, that's the thing about Ben Affleck. He's really not that good. He just gets it right sometimes if he chooses the right role. This is too emotional for him. First of all, and I think the story failed him.
Right. Yeah.
The story never brought us to the peaks that we're supposed to be at each moment.
Well, see, so this is the thing. I blame that on script writing.
Absolutely. It's not his fault.
So
the script had a lot of holes.
Yeah.
When the dude comes to the door and asks for his position back.
Yeah.
What were we supposed to get from
right?
Where did we get to see his journey and to see this need for him and for him to be at this point, at this moment? None of these stuff meant nothing. Right. It meant nothing.
They didn't give enough complexity to these issues. But that's why I said having a redemption story mixed in with a coming of age story, it wasn't enough about the kids for me to be invested.
Not enough about the school.
Right. I was just he went there. That's nice.
The first trophy he walks up to is him.
Right. And it's just okay. Oh, they haven't been there since he was there. Okay. Nice.
I know you heard me snoring a couple times. I was trying, bro.
Yeah, I was trying. Oh, he must not be liking this movie.
It wasn't long snores. I know I didn't miss much.
No, you didn't.
I just missed tiny little moments.
Regardless, you could piece it together. It was a very simple storyline. That's why I said when that second act finished, I was like, man, that third act. Okay. I guess that's it.
They destroyed the opportunity. This is what I thought was going to happen. Right.
All right. Go ahead.
When they're at the championship game. I guess it's kind of a spoiler. Whatever. When they're at the championship game.
Oh, the last home game.
The last game, and they're about to go in. I thought they were going to have him FaceTime
the team,
and then give him a motivational story, tell him what's going. Yeah. Yes, and then I'd have been like,
okay,
wow, they used technology. He didn't have to be there, and he motivated them.
I like that.
But all of a sudden, they're like, let's do it for the. They haven't been speaking about this fool for how long?
Right. I was like, yo, how long was he in rehab? God dang. But all right, so the one thing that I do say I did like, so we gonna do a handful of positives.
Let's go. Let's make the sandwich.
All right. So you know how all these movies, you either win in that last game or you lose and you learn something and we're gonna do it again next year better. I like the fact that we have no clue. That's just how it ended. They made it, and this is it. Yeah. And you hear some of the sportscasting in the background, but the story is more about him returning to become this person who he's wanted to be. It was that whole identity thing, and it was all right, good. It kind of took the edge off of the whole coming of age kids. Do they just pull it together all of a sudden, or?
I mean, the idea is that they already won.
Right.
They've all changed in some way and are better.
We've made it.
And they're moving forward, and so has he. They don't have to win the game.
Right.
To win the game.
They've already won at life.
They're better. Where are they?
California.
They're in California? Yeah. What kind of rinky-dink... Where was he living in?
Bishop Hayes. That was...
Damn.
Oh, that could have been Southern Cal. SoCal.
Man.
Could have been. Maybe.
I thought it was across the street from Cabrini Green. Like, I mean,
oh my God.
Damn.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right, because it was a little hood.
It was like, where was he living?
Yeah, because he had to be south. It was probably like Long Beach.
And where's all his money? He's like a journeyman. Like,
and he's living in like a one-room shack. Oh, yeah, well, yeah. But, the whole thing is, remember, he's paying $60 a pop at a liquor store. Just getting bottles.
Going to just drinking.
He was the super functional alcoholic.
Super.
I was like, yo, you working on the high beams and everything? Okay.
Now compare Ben Affleck's alcoholism to Denzel's Washington flight alcoholism.
Ooh.
You see an alcoholic with levels.
Right.
Levels.
All right, so this is my thing, because this is what I always ask about actors. All right, like, who's picking your scripts? Like, when you read the scripts, is you and your agent going back and forth, you and your manager? Like, is it like three of us, we all read the script? What do we think? Does it have this, that, and the other? Is there enough behind it? Like, there's so much to picking out, like, a role and to agreeing to.
I think they thought they were going to get him an award. I think they were like, listen, you've done the action, you've done the superhero. Let's dig down and let's get you your gridiron gang.
Okay.
Let's find you your gridiron gang and let's make it raw. We want to see you raw.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna be raw. Yeah, we want to see you. We want to see your face puffy, like you haven't been working out in a very long time. Like so it's like
we're gonna do the anti-Batman.
We're gonna do the anti-Batman movie, so you could just relax. Your dad bod will be perfect for the movie, and it just.
I have absolutely no clue who else is attached to this movie, like none. I don't know who the director is, producers, and I mean, like, maybe this is a passion project, but then I don't feel like it. No, it was a passion project.
If it is, like, damn.
I was like, that.
You have the resources of the world. This was your passion?
Yeah, but, I mean, I felt like it was reflective of him, right? No?
Reflective of him, yes. Trash.
Okay.
Like, this doesn't even go nowhere near any of the movies that you've seen that has to do with sports. No Rudy, no Remember the Titans.
It wasn't as good as Hoosiers.
This doesn't even touch Mighty Ducks.
Oh, dang.
I take Mighty Ducks any day.
Emilio Estevez.
I'll take Emilio Estevez, Mighty Ducks any day.
All right. Okay.
He's a way better
Kenan Thompson out here?
I'll take Kenan Thompson. I'll take Pacey any day. What's his real name?
Jack.
Pacey. That's his real
name. But yo, speaking about him, you know who his wife is?
Shorty from Queen of
Yeah.
I said I knew I liked Pacey for some reason.
I was go ahead, Dawson's Creek.
Yo.
Okay. Killing it out here. Okay. All right. Big up. But yes,
Pacey the type to be listening to Mobb Deep in his car.
I can't stand you.
Be like, yo, you like Eminem? Like, I don't fuck with Eminem. Only 90s hip hop.
All right, I feel hip hop.
Crazy. Pacey listening to Dead Prez.
Yeah. Yo, bump that.
Bump that. Yo, Pacey. Yo, turn that shit up, bro. Pacey.
Oh man. Yeah.
Damn. Queen and Slim.
But all right. I mean, I don't like to tell people what to do. You can wait for this at the Red Box.
I would wait for this at the Red Box.
You can wait for this on FX.
Well, okay. So here's the caveat: $5 Tuesday.
Yo,
sure.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Rock. If there's nothing else, you ain't see Invisible Man.
If this is a date and you got to pay for you and Shorty, that's $30, and then you got to do concession. And that's another at least $25. That's
go see Jungle Cruise.
You better not. Don't waste it on this.
You be tight.
Don't waste it on this. Go see Sonic or something. Go see Invisible Man. Do not waste this on this movie. Okay. I mean, we might as well score it.
Yeah, go ahead.
We only 15 minutes in. We only 15 minutes in.
All right. I gave it I gave it a 1.5.
Damn. Yeah. I thought I was better, so I can't even do that.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Shots fired.
Yo, shot fired.
I'm going to give it a 2, and the second one's just an honorable mention. Like, y'all tried.
Okay. Bang, bang.
Like, y'all tried. Okay. They tried to do something. He tried. Yeah. He had a tear going.
Oh, yo, that one tear. I
don't know if it was his tear.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was gonna say. I was like, yo, now I'll be looking at these movies. I'll be like, was that CGI?
I think he was laying back. Somebody came.
I can't. The little Visine. Little Visine.
That's it, yo. Listen.
The one positive I was.
Okay, go.
I did like the leading boy role, whatever the kid's name was.
Yeah.
He was.
There's a dude from Instagram that's in there.
Oh yeah,
the one that was kicked off.
Yeah.
Marcus.
Yeah. He's good. Yeah. He did that basketball movie on Netflix also.
I didn't watch it.
Okay, it was pretty good.
But he's working.
Yeah,
I'm glad to see him working.
Yeah, he's done a couple movies now.
Too bad this is one of those movies that people are gonna be like, well, what were you in? The Way Back.
Yeah. But yeah, I was gonna say, yo, he's got to be in his 20s and he's still out here playing kids like 15, 16.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the longevity of the career, baby.
You're right.
He'll be on Disney in a second.
You're right.
Yo.
All right, let's look. Let's put the movie behind us. Let's
okay.
get into the topic.
All right, let's just move into the topic. It's over. All right, so
I don't want Ben Affleck to come. Look, we live in New England. People would be mad like we talk about the Patriots right now.
If they bring back the Green Light Project, we'd be right on there with the script, 123 pages.
What else you wanted us to say?
So when you're watching the movie, obviously there are topics that jump out at you. Substance abuse.
That was the first one that I got.
Huge. It's a huge one.
Right.
And grief.
Yes.
All right. So substance abuse. In the movie, he's dealing with alcoholism.
Yes.
But his alcoholism is directly linked to his trauma.
Right.
Childhood trauma and the trauma of losing his son.
Right. I don't know if you picked up on it because I had just caught it. I don't know if he was up at that time or not. But the guy who keeps on bringing him back, Doc, he had mentioned, he was just like, oh, I used to bring your father back home like this too.
So the father was alcoholic.
Right.
Also.
So I kind of got that. Yep. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they do that in there.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that actor was still alive.
Oh, the black.
That's a dude from Different World.
Yeah, and the Inkwell. That's my favorite.
Yes, he is from the Inkwell. So, substance abuse. Do movies handle this well?
No, never.
I don't think so.
Rarely. Because if we went by what happens in the movies, then everybody could kick drugs or alcohol with willpower.
Yeah.
And that's not
just a little run to rehab.
Yeah.
One little run to rehab.
Oh, you got it. You can make it.
You know?
But that, I feel like that was the only reason why the way that this movie ended was good, because you don't see him accomplish.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, he's still in.
Right.
You don't know.
So whether it's an ongoing battle, but he's on the way up. He's ascending. Mm-hmm. And I like that. Yeah. But I mean, he's been to rehab. So, I mean, I guess he would know, you know, not saying anything, just saying.
They don't.
They've got to do real substance abuse movies.
Real substance abuse
focus
movies.
On substance
and
abuse.
They never really focus on the rehab part of it.
Right.
Like the serious
recovery,
work
right.
The recovery. The real work that happens. Mm-hmm. And like the way he was drinking, he should have felt some serious like withdrawal issues also. Like
the first time where he pulls into the bar and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna set you up," and he like just starts the car and leaves. I was like, that wouldn't happen. You know what I mean? Like you need more than that, because the moment that you're on your way to the bar, like that's it, the decision has been made. The moment you get there, it's not really a lot that could deter you. Yeah, that's why I was like, the fall from grace part was the best, because when he goes in there, sits down, gets the beer, and he sits there and looks at it, it's just like. he was past the point of no return. So it's not like
No.
he was already committed, and that was like, oh, this is real.
Plus, it's slippery slope. You start, I'll just drink this one,
Right?
and then you're 10 in, and you're pissy drunk.
Exactly.
Or super high. But like substance abuse. I mean, we're living in we come from a time in which people tell us the stories of, the early 80s and the crack epidemic and how it just wafted through our communities, and we're living in the time where we're looking at what's the drug of choice right now? What are they doing in Appalachia?
I don't know. It's a gamble at this point.
Is it heroin, crystal meth? Like we're living in the time where substance abuse is just happening all around us, and it's happening.
I mean, at this point, it's probably prescription drugs.
It's prescription drugs, the oxys, the perks, all these different things.
And nobody really knows how to combat it.
Do we not know how to combat it?
Yeah. No. I mean,
or do we not care to combat it?
Yes.
I think we don't care to combat it.
Because the idea is, when we get into our second topic, is the idea of knowing what the source is and what led you there and why you're still there.
Yeah.
And if we don't ever attack the source, we're never going to be able to attack the actual...
I'm convinced if you lose somebody, especially somebody in your immediate family, you should automatically be taking therapy.
Right.
Automatic. That should be like the thing that someone tells you to do. Okay, after we lay this person to rest, it's time for you to go to therapy.
Right.
No ifs, ands, or buts, because there is no amount of thinking your way out of the grief that's going to happen.
Right.
You're going to find a coping mechanism. It may not be drugs and alcohol. Maybe sex. It may be anything.
Right.
It may be work.
There's so many things that people do that can be bad. It doesn't matter how good something can be.
Absolutely.
You can turn it bad by
it could
doing
be sugar.
Right.
Whatever it is, Right. So it's I think the way we have things set up, we don't look at the real alternatives. Like therapy seems to be the last resort as opposed to the first resort.
Right.
Like more people should just be going in. It should be a regular thing.
Right.
It should almost be like CVS Minute Clinic. It should be like, Minute Therapists. It should be all around us so that people can work on their healing, because those are the things that generally lead to substance abusing.
And people, I think this is the reason why there's so many toll-free numbers or a hotline. Mm-hmm. But instead of just being able to go in, do what you need to do, people really aren't paying attention to that.
Gotcha.
And I mean, like, it's probably a first in society where it's being accepted or it's being spoken about on a grander scale. Mm-hmm. So it kind of makes sense now, and especially if we can raise our kids to understand that, like, that's an option. Like, this is stuff that we need to do. Yeah. We need to be mentally right.
Yeah.
So it's a tough world we live in, though.
I think it probably starts early. I mean, I think all of us should, as parents, should probably be raising our children to be comfortable with the idea of therapy.
Right.
It's not a rich person's tool. It's just a tool.
Right.
It's something that we all can use. It's something that can all be beneficial for all of us. And especially dealing to prevent or to possibly, get in the way, put that wall up before substance abuse and people dealing with grief, because grief is heavy.
Yes.
It's heavy. And you don't even know. You don't know sometimes, like, some of the things that you're dealing with and some of the things that you're doing. A lot of people are repressors. I'm a repressor. I didn't even know that.
Really?
I had no idea that. It was just like I block things out super easy, to a detriment, because sometimes it just pops up. Right. Things can build up on you, and that could become dangerous, especially if you're unable to control that buildup.
Right, not knowing what your trigger is going to be or what it is.
A wave of emotion, something could trigger you, something could take you into that place. I mean, like, art for me is therapeutic. I see a counselor, I see a therapist, and, probably, I think I started seeing the therapist based off of doing couples therapy with my wife, which wasn't necessarily beneficial the first time I went, because the therapist, I think, just didn't operate in a way that
was conducive
for us.
Right.
But the next person that we went to, it was super beneficial for our relationship. And I believe like we went at a time where it was like, we weren't on the rocks. Right. We weren't there. But, it just helped us, communicate better and to see the signs of, what each other hot buttons are. And sometimes you just need a third person in the room to just referee the situation. Yeah. But like even in that, what that ended up turning into was the us splitting up and then doing our own sessions with a therapist, dealing with the things we were both dealing with separately, because that was coming into our relationship, because it wasn't really about relationship stuff, and ended up really just being about personal stuff. And a lot of it's just personal stuff from years and years that you just repressed everything. Yeah. For me, it was more recent. Like my situation was what I was working through. What I am working through was just feeling not realized. Not having achieved the things that I had wanted to achieve from the point that I was 13, and how to deal with that, and how to cope with that, and how to move forward. But yeah, like it's been super beneficial and it's super necessary, and I'm glad that I'm doing it now. But it would have been great to have done it earlier. Right. You know what I mean? And
to have that freedom.
Exactly, because we don't feel bad. Like you don't think about taking vitamins. You don't think that's a bad thing. Right. You don't think about, my head's kind of hurting, let me take a Tylenol. Right. This is what therapy should be looked at. Right, exactly. It's something. I'm feeling some type of way. I just need someone to talk to. Sometimes your friend can't do what a therapist can, because they don't necessarily understand what's going on. Right. They haven't seen the signs. They haven't had the training to identify certain things. Not everybody is clinically depressed, and not everybody's depressed, but everybody feels depression. Right. And then there's ways of uplifting people out of that, and some people don't have those tools of lifting each other out of that.
Right. I think that this is the one reason why you kind of have to be open with your kids and to make them realize that they have a voice. It's really tough. I'm almost certain you and your kids and me and my son, I'm kind of always focused on like, all right, what can we talk about? Like, what's going on? And, if something's going on or something's in your head, like you've got somebody to bounce it off of. And if you need someone who's more adept at this or can help you work it out, like that's an open door. Like that's an option.
It has to be. It has to be.
I think that obviously growing up, that's not something that was always spoken about, or kids don't have the opportunity to have a voice. So it's very important to have that feeling, to know that you can talk if you need to talk and how to talk, because then you always end up with the parents who are talking to the kid like, why didn't you say anything? I don't have a voice.
All the time.
You know what I mean?
All the time. And, especially in male children, because it's like, we grow up in a society that says be tough. Right. And be tough just means don't talk about it. Like, you've already felt the effects. Right. And we allow our daughters to express themselves more, but maybe not to the degree that they should. But we're totally forcing young men to repress and to hold it in. And so you start using tools to hold it in and to repress. And that could be sex, diving into women. That could be drugs. That could be alcohol. And those are the manifestations of it. Violence, extreme violence. You know what I mean? All of those things are just really symptoms of a person who is dealing with something. Right. Because that's not the normal. That's not the base of a person to be extremely violent, to abuse drugs and all these different things. That's a person who's trying to cope. Right. You know what I mean? And we're all trying to cope to a degree, but not everybody's situation hits that level. Right. Because, just like a mic level, when you get into that red, that sends you somewhere else. And a lot of people get into that red, and it brings them to the place that Ben Affleck was. Yep. You know what I mean? Losing a child is tough.
It is.
I can't even imagine.
It's amazing. It's like the degree in which, people are always like, oh, well, you should just kick the drug or do this. And the whole reason of doing it is because you was kicking something else. Yes. Like, people don't realize that. Like, the phrase that I guess, hit me at the end of the movie was it's a drowning numbness. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of don't want to feel.
You don't want to feel.
And you just want to be immersed in this feeling of not feeling. So.
Because it's pain.
Right.
It's pain. You're numbing yourself, like the Frank Ocean song.
Right.
You know, Novocaine, Novocaine. Like, literally, people are just trying to numb these feelings because they hurt.
Right.
You know, and then once we all start to realize that we're all going to experience some hurt and everybody's level is not the same, and just understand that people are going through something, I think that we can turn things around and realize, like, you know what, everybody should have therapy access. Right. And it's not just access, it needs to be like super open, right around the corner. Schools don't have counselors like that anymore. Right. Counselors got 300 kids to deal with. It's no way that they're going to have the attention that they need, you know, to speak to these kids, you know, and it's kind of sad.
I think that also people lack complete objectability. So one of the things that for me is most important is if I ever have a friend who's talking to me or anybody, the first thing I'm thinking about is like your well-being, how you're feeling. And a lot of people, the difference between what a lot of people do is what happened, what's wrong, this, that, and the other. No, how are you feeling?
How are you feeling?
What can make you feel better? Will talking about this make you feel better? People don't think about those things.
Because some people it won't.
Because people are just like, oh, I want to know so I know what to do. Yeah. Sometimes knowing what happened doesn't help. Yeah. Or talking about what happened doesn't help. So if you...
Maybe just your company.
Right. If we could just sit here and talk like about anything, it could help me out. Or if we could just sit here and be in silence, I know that I'm not alone because I've accepted you inside this bubble and you know that something is wrong and I'm willing to admit that. You know what I mean? So too many people are just like, oh, well, you know, like what happened and speak to me and tell me and this, that, and the other. And I always tell people like, there's so much more. If you're so worried about someone's well-being, worry about their well-being. And be objective about that before you start thinking about like, oh, well, this helps me out. That may not help someone else out.
It's true.
You know?
I'm learning that. I'm learning that with my wife because I try to be a fixer. Like, she'll tell me something and I try to give her advice on what to do next time. Right. But that's not what she's looking for. She's just looking for a person to listen and to be there because that's what she needs. But you automatically get into the mode, oh, no, do this next time, change this, you know, but that's not it. That's not it. And it's important to identify what the person's needs are at that moment. Exactly. It could change or it could be something that you may not need. Right. Maybe you're the person who, your situation, you want somebody to help you fix. Right. But some people just want to vent.
And that's the whole thing. Imagine that you do so much, right? And you're just like, oh, man, I killed it. And they were just looking for one phrase. And you could have just said that one phrase if you was more objective, and it would have did 10 times more than what you think you just did. You know, like, those are the things that I'm always thinking about.
I see you.
You know? Yeah. So it's so important to, like, be able to get something from someone, how they envision it. Because if they're willing to, like, even make that one step, like, oh, what's wrong? Like, you know, it's not, like, just for someone to not just shut you out and be like, oh, nothing, I'm good. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's a step, you know? Like, people don't realize that. Like, oh, I don't really want to talk about it because they're conflicted sometimes. Yeah. Like, all right, I'm not supposed to talk about this. But I know that I kind of need to talk about this, you know? So then that's the whole thing. It's just like, oh, you know, like, especially with kids. Most of the time, it's like they may not want to come out and say something, but when you open up a kid, like they're willing to spill everything. Yeah. But if you don't know how to open them up, like forcing them to is not going to open them. You know what I mean?
You got to let them be in the habit of talking. Period. Even if you don't want to hear, because a lot of times kids be saying something you don't want to hear. You got to listen about what's going on in the school, you know, the trivial things, so that they're in the practice and they build the trust in that I can talk to you. Like, you know, I trust you. I've built that muscle of opening up myself. Right. Because if you don't start it with the stuff that's not serious, you're not going to get the serious stuff. It just doesn't start with the serious stuff.
Right. There's two things that I do with my son. and I know that people are just like, oh, like it's too tough. There's two things. One thing is I'm interested in what he's interested in. Even if it's not one of my interests,
gotcha.
I'm interested in what you're interested in,
like
because that helps me learn more about you. You know what I mean? One of the things that I did very early on was, like, if we're driving or whatever, like he puts on music that he wants to listen to. So, and then, like, if we do like a long road trip, whether it's me, him, or me and someone else,
I'm gonna use that.
I'll tell him, put on something that I would like, because now he has to really think about it.
Yeah.
All right, now he'll put on something that I like, and then he'll put on something that he likes. By the time we started taking a couple trips, or like, and I would just give him the aux, or like, you put on the radio. Now we like a lot of the same things, and he'll put on stuff that now we don't really have to think about it. But now he's considerate of me.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And you didn't force the exposure. This is what's good music. This is not. It's just we're connecting.
Right, exactly.
We're connected.
So the second thing that I did was, like, I have to show him me being vulnerable to him. So there's things that, like, I would talk to him about, or it's not a thing about, like, so it's these moments where maybe I need to talk. Let me talk to him.
Yeah.
Like, he's my friend, because, and it's not a thing about, like, oh, parents and children can't be friends. It's a thing about, like, at some point he's going to be an adult.
Absolutely.
And
longer.
Right. Exactly. Longer. And the whole thing is that at some point we're going to have to talk like two friends, because I'm not always going to just be able to be his father.
No.
You know what I mean?
That is solid.
Yeah. So it's like, it's so important, because one day, like, he's not going to be able to be like, oh, I can't go to him, that's my father. But if he's like, damn, I got to talk to him because that's my friend, like, he'll know best about me, or he'll know the most.
He has the shorthand.
So he's not in there like, man, what am I going to do? Yeah. Now he's got someone to bounce it off of, who's he knows is focused on his well-being.
That's right.
And I'm not going to judge him, or I'm going to be like, yo, like, all right, did you do it this way? Did you think about it this way? And not like, damn, I'm disappointed. Like, why would you do that? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, sometimes you really need advice, or you really need something else. But I like, the one thing I'm always thinking is, my son's a person, and he's going to be a person to so many people, not just me. So it's important.
It's hard to lose track of that, because, like, you are, you know that you're building a person, you're making a person is growing from you. But do you realize that they're going to be independent, because they're so dependent early on, and you get stuck in that dependency phase. We're like, oh, you need this, and so they become like something that the possession that you mold. But you have to allow them to fly. You have to give them the tools to fly, outside of you. And all the groundwork starts here. All the what we're doing with our children, hopefully, equipping them with the tools that they don't have to face, substance abuse.
There was one, I was listening to a podcast. I'm going to send it to you.
Okay.
And they were talking about how important it is to fail.
Ooh.
So, and I say this all the time, like, it's going to be times where your kid's going to learn most what it is to grow up by failing at something. So it's very important not to protect them all the time, but being aware and being involved. This means that you're capable of choosing what to let them fail at. You understand what I mean? So now you want to protect them, but you're protecting them enough from the harshest of harsh things.
Gotcha.
So that they can make the largest leaps, the largest growths, and not lose their place and where they should be in life. You know what I mean? That's something that I feel is so important, but you don't want to raise someone to be sheltered, to just think and just be like, oh, well, this is how things happen. But if I'm capable of putting them on a path where, all right, he's going to face some difficulty, let him face that difficulty. Yeah. It'd be different if it was like, he's about to fall off a cliff, let me just let him.
Life or death is something separate.
So if I'm protecting him enough to, like, he's going to be a substantially well-balanced person.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. I'd rather him be that than I sheltered him his whole life and he missed out, you know?
Yeah.
Because this is what, like you said, everyone feels depression.
Mm-hmm.
If I give him the tools that he can fight depression.
To cope,
he'll be good.
To work through.
If I give him the ability to see that not everything will depress him or not everything will put him in the slumps.
Yeah.
All right, cool. If he knows that there's going to be days where there are down days, oh, cool. But I know that there's good days, so I'll wait for that good day.
Yeah.
I'm not focused on today because it's a down day. I don't need to look for the substance to abuse because I need to numb what I'm feeling right now. That's the important part.
And I also think we have to value the moments of feeling good and the moments of feeling pain. Like, you know, that's all a part of, like, if you think that, you know, feeling bad or feeling regret or feeling sadness is something you're not supposed to feel, you will attempt to run away from.
Right.
But if you understand, which is something that I'm still learning, if you understand that these are things that are part of the process and there's a bigger picture, then you understand that I'm on the right path. This is the road that I'm supposed to go down. I got to get a couple of nicks. I got to fight through. I got to work through. And then ultimately I'll come out better by having these experiences. Right. I don't need to shield myself from ever having these experiences because these experiences are the things that's supposed to propel me to the next state of life.
Right.
You know?
You can't have the highest highs without knowing the lowest lows.
Can't. Can you appreciate them either? I don't think you can. We good.
Yeah. All right.
We went deep.
That was a
the loose cannons went deep, y'all.
Yeah.
Oh man. Listen, once again, I'm No Justin, No Peace.
And I'm Lou Rivers.
And we are the Loose Cannons Podcast because we sit down and we fire off our opinions on today's pop culture.
What else?
Politics.
What else?
Movies and TV and how they all intersect. And plus, sometimes we just sit down and we just go deep in on a topic that looms out from the movie. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, we started our Patreon.
Yes, we did.
Excuse me. Cannons Podcast.
Yes.
If you want to support the podcast, you want to support what it is we're doing, the conversations that we're having, we would love for you guys to go support us on the platform Patreon.
Please do.
Okay? For as little as $1.99 a month, $5 a month.
Ooh.
What we're going to do is we're going to start doing bonus episodes.
I like it.
Our TV episodes are going to go over to Patreon.
Yeah. We could do a couple contests.
We do definitely some contests.
Okay.
Plus, we're going to start doing what's called Did They Get It Right?
Yes.
In which we break down the Oscars from each year, starting with this year's the past Oscar, and did they get it right when they chose Parasite for the Best Picture? And we're just going to keep going back from
Did you see Trump say, "What's up with this movie, Parasite"? He's like, where did this movie
get the
come
xenophobia out of the Oscars? So that's what we're going to be doing on Patreon, guys. And if you have some ideas of some stuff that we can add to the Patreon, we would love to hear from you guys.
Please.
Plus, if you're a supporter of us on Patreon, we're going to start bringing you in on the conversations.
Yes.
Right here, this beautiful board we have right here, we're going to be able to make some phone calls and bring you guys in and hear what you have to say about the pop culture,
Be ready.
politics, movies, and TV. And the movies, like, this is just going to be a great year, guys. 2020 is going to be big.
Ooh, I like it.
We thank you for your support so far.
Yes.
Listen, you guys are coming back and listening. When we're posting on our social media, people are watching. The YouTube numbers are going up. The podcasting numbers are going up. We really appreciate you guys.
I appreciate it.
Once again, No Justin, No Peace.
And I'm Lou Rivers.
And we were the Loose Cannons Podcast. We're out.
Peace.